Hey guys, and welcome back to the Face It podcast. Today I am joined by Amanda from Skin Deep Treatments. Thank you very much for being on the podcast today.
Lovely to see you, Lydia, and great to see you're enjoying your new role.
Thank you very much. I hope I'm doing justice to Holly, who was amazing, but I'm having fun getting to chat to all the practitioners and actually loads of other people in the industry. So it's been really fun and interesting.
Yeah, and lovely. You smash it.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, I'm super excited to have you on. I know we've got lots that we can talk about, which is fantastic. So I think it's best to get started by kind of introducing yourself and letting us know how you got into the industry and to where you are today.
Oh, how long have you got? I have been in the health and fitness industry for over 33 years. Traditionally, I run my own health clubs and always been really interested in health, fitness, beauty. So from the very young age, I've been self-employed. I've never been employed. So I think I've got a really good work ethic. I think I got that. My whole family, I'm surrounded by medics, nurses, just people that have always been from a caring background. So I taught 21 classes a week. I travelled the country. I was an Fit Pro. I then decided to get my own gym where I was doing lots of teaching. Then after growing that business for 12 years, I decided to take the plunge and actually purchase a 10,000 square foot facility, which I completely and utterly gutted and made it into a health club. So I ran a 2-floor health club, which was fantastic, an amazing time. And during the next 12 years, I met my husband. I had 2 beautiful boys, which again really changed the way I ran my business, because obviously I was teaching all these classes, I had responsibilities, and unfortunately with my second childbirth it damaged my back a little bit, so it did stop me from doing what I was doing. A little bit. How I got into the sort of aesthetics side of it was body contouring, because a lot of my clients were saying, oh yeah, I'm getting really slim and I'm loving it, but my skin's not tight, I'm getting, I don't feel right. So I don't know how it happened, but I got into skin tightening, cavitation, radio frequency, ultrasonic lipo, going back and back and back. And I thought, you know what, I really love this. I love this side of it. And then just doors opened, and then I trained in semi-permanent makeup, and then I went into laser. I'm a bit of a dinosaur. I've done quite a lot of training. So then what happened was I ran a clinic from the downstairs of my health club. But then, unfortunately, my husband was diagnosed with breast cancer. So a couple of things happened. That was just before COVID. So at the side of our house, we were fortunate to have a lovely cottage which stands on its own. And I decided, with my children needed me and other things, I'm thinking, now I need to kind of move so that I can work closer to home. My gym is running perfectly as it is. It was fine. I had a great team that was really working for me. So I decided to work from the side of my home. So I've got a beautiful clinic that sits by the side of it, so I could get home and just after him and just keep an eye on everything while it was happening. And I was a bit worried because I thought, oh my goodness, it's a bit out of the sticks. It's not on the main high street. It's a bit out of it. But I've never been busier. I really have never been busier. If anything, people think I love it because it's out of the way. It's a safe environment. Nobody's going to see you coming, going, and things like that. Anyway, cut long story short, COVID hit. So obviously what happened to health clubs, we had to do all that. But in the meantime, I was running 2 businesses. I was running the health club, and then I was running the aesthetics side of it, because I've been in the aesthetics for about 13 years now. So it was sort of, I don't know how I did it, but I did it. And then COVID hit, another curveball. So it was a really difficult time for me, because at that time, I really wanted to progress and maybe open a bigger clinic, get other people working for me and things like that. So with a health club, I did decide to close it. The reason being was the building was built in a way where you couldn't justify 2 people being in the the same place. So they're like the changing rooms are on an L shape, so you couldn't get two people socially distancing, having showers. 80% of my client base was classes. So you know what happened to classes? Mm. We just couldn't run it. It was ridiculous. And I thought, you know what? I could have kept going and going and going, but I thought I've had the best 33 years. And I'm so passionate about the aesthetic side of it. It's untrue. And I thought, no, this is time now to say goodbye to that and concentrate on something that I truly am passionate about. So yeah, and now my husband's recovered nicely. So that's great. And yeah, and then it's just been a crazy time. I know I'm not the only one. It's hit everybody, but we're now in a different place. So that's kind of my history. In terms of training, before COVID, I literally have done every CPD course out there. I mean, I've even done I've been to 3 training academies just to do botulinum toxin and derma fillers, just to make sure that there was something available out there. I wanted to make sure I was getting the best training. So sometimes I would just pay and just do as many as I can to make sure that I was fine, because up until recently, where Qualify have brought out a regulated qualification, there's not been anything. So so that's kind of where I was at with the training side of it. So done lots and lots and lots of that, and then delivering lots and lots of different treatments.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you've been on a real journey. I wonder how you feel about that transition from obviously having that business for, I think you said like 33 years or something, to now doing something, I say completely different. It's still kind of related, our bodies, how we feel, how we look.
I think because it kind of like transitioned over, I was doing both at the same time for quite a long time. So because the aesthetic side of it really took off, and I had a real passion for it. And I thought, and with my back, and I wasn't able to do as many classes as I did before, it kind of was a natural progression. So it didn't feel like, oh, 1 minute I'm doing this, 1 minute I'm doing that, because I was doing it for many years while I was there. And then I just decided to move away from the health club and set up, independently on its own. It was tough because, you've got a lot of, 2 businesses to run at one time. And I don't know how I did it, but I think with what happened to my husband and COVID, it makes you sit back and go, do you know what? Life's too short. You got to do what you need to do. I think when you're in business, you've got to say, and, now's the time to move on. And luckily I own the building, so I rent the building out, so it's not like it's where I had my gym. I actually own it, so it's not like it's been wasted, because it's just sat there and somebody's renting it now for the next 5 years. So it's all progression in business, but it has allowed me to continue with the aesthetic side of it. So from there, during COVID, I think a lot of people did a lot of reflecting and decided, what they're going to do. And we were all a little bit worried about, how we were going to be affected, and would people come back for treatments? And if anything, I found that my clientele said, do you know what? I haven't spent any money. I haven't been on holiday. I haven't done this. I'm going to have twice as much when I come back. I'm going to have twice as many treatments, because they just wanted to, it just meant that they felt really good about themselves. And so what was a worry and a concern actually wasn't, for me in particular. So before COVID, I heard about the Ofqual regulated qualifications that came, and I thought, oh, this sounds really good. And I've always got my ear quite close to the ground, seeing what's going on. And then there was just 1 or 2, I think there was about 3 places that actually were offering it. So I made my inquiries, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna do this, because this is really good. This looked like really good training. And I looked into it, what was involved, and I thought, my goodness, this is really, really thorough. So I thought, yeah, I'm going to do this. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Just get on with it. What's the worst that can happen? And I really wanted to be the best I possibly could, you know. So and also we've been surrounded by nurses and all this non-medic medic, and I hate that word. I confided in my family, and I said to them, look, you know, should I go and do my nursing? And they went, absolutely not, Amanda. And this is people round me. I'm going, well, yeah, but you've got to do this to do it. And you don't. What you will learn there is nothing to what you're doing. There's got to be a pathway at some point, Amanda. There's got to be a pathway. And I'm thinking, shall I go and do it, shan't I? And I thought, no, because at the end of it, and I also have, I mean, probably about 20% of my clients are you know, medics, and they say to me, you won't learn anything that you will learn in aesthetics. You know, as far as I'm concerned, you're not trained in aesthetics until you're trained in aesthetics. And yes, I mean, they're amazing. Nurses are amazing, and they've got that lovely ethical background. They're carers, they work clinically, they do an absolute amazing job. But that should be we should have a pathway to do that. And here we are. We've got hopefully we've got this pathway that's there for us, and it's just whether to take it or not. And I think a lot of people are struggling with it, saying, well, I've done all this training, I've spent £5,000-10,000 on the training, I'm trained. And I can honestly say that when I applied, they said, right, you've got enough background to go straight onto your level 5. So I didn't have to go, because I'd done all my beauty training as well. I'd done the NVQ and the proper all in the beauty, and I'd done my laser treatment for the regulated one that was level 4. So they allowed me onto my level 5. So I was slowly working on the level 5, and that is really in depth. I thought, whoa, this is really in depth. So you had to do your SAQs, you had to do your assignments, which were, to be honest, Lydia, it took me about 3 months to retrain my brain to start working like that again, you know, writing critically, analysing, evaluating. And, you know, on a few occasions, they sent a few questions going back saying, good, great detail, but not enough. And so I just going at it, and I'm going, right, I'm going to do this. So, and then it was crazy because when I did my my level 5, you know, it's so intense that you have to go in and do so many case studies and in front of them to justify. So it's not like when you go on a CPD course and there might be 6 of you and you might have one a go or 2. And then they give you a certificate, say, yeah, you qualified in that. It's all great, you know, because I've been there, so I've gone through the journey, so it's no criticism, but this is at a different level. So then I thought, right, let's crack on while my brain's in gear. Let's crack on with a level 7. And well, that was something else. And I thought, you know what, this is really good. It's tough. And if you're not kind of from a very academic background, and you're not used to writing and reading and researching, then yes, it is challenging. But you know, you've got, if you want to do the best you can, you've got to do it. You've got to do it. And what I did, it's all in my mind, but what I did is I put all the work in a filing cabinet, and I got one question out at a time, ran with it, put it back, because otherwise it would be absolutely overwhelming. So I did all my SAQs, which again, 1 or 2 questions got sent back to me because there wasn't enough detail, you know, and I was going deep. I thought I was going deep. Anyway, so I did it, and it was a great achievement. You know, every time it came back and I went, yes, passed it. It's really good. Then I had to go in twice. I had to do, in total, 41 case studies of Botox and derma fillers in front of an assessor, just 1-to-1. Literally as I'm going along. I never met the models in my life, so it was big consultation, go through, do all your marking up, your photographs, your hygiene's got to be perfect, deliver the treatment, aftercare, everything absolutely perfectly. I did 41 treatments to be able to get through them. So tick, tick, tick. And then I completed my first dissertation on the psychology of aesthetics, including body dysmorphia, which I loved. I really loved that one. And I am, like I said to you before, I am literally probably about 4 hours off finishing my last one, which is in complications management. So I've been working really hard to get it, but that was my goal. I thought, you know what, I really want to do it. And I think anybody thinking out there whether to do it or not, you can't take the qualification away from you. And I know a lot of people have been saying, yeah, but it might not be the one, it might not be the one. Well, if it isn't the one and they're going to develop it, it's going to take a long time to develop. And Ofqual are regulated, and there is a very strong possibility that once you've done it, that when regulations come in, there will be other little modules to complete, which is fine. But for me, I wanted to be in a position where I felt really comfortable and confident, and I can justify myself. Yes, I have done it and I am trained, not wondering whether I actually am or not. Do you know what I mean? It is a really good qualification. So I would say to people, I'd encourage them to do it. And if they're worried about it, ring them up and ask questions. Don't be carried away what everybody else is saying. Just think about yourself. Have a long word with yourself and just really dig deep and go, what do I want out of it? I'm not following the crowd. What do I want? And if it sits well with you, then I think absolutely, go and make inquiries. It's not going to hurt, and nobody can take that qualification away from you. So yeah, I think I would definitely encourage people to do it. And it is a really, it sits on its own as your level 5 and your level 7. It is, and I've done a lot of training courses, and it really is a lot more thorough than your normal courses. And then, of course, CPD is fantastic because it's continual professional development thereafter. 2 or 3 of those a year, just to keep everything up to date, refreshed, your first aid, different techniques, different products coming in. Fabulous. But for me, it was an important step to justify me doing the treatments, and to become comfortable with it. So I hope that sounds okay.
Yeah, no, that's really good and really informative. I think just based on you sharing your experience will help to maybe, don't want to say influence, but encourage people to make a decision for themselves on, like you say, what's best.
Yeah, absolutely. Nobody should be influenced. I think you've got to, like I say, I think you've got to take a long, hard look at yourself and, make inquiries, see what it's about. Ask these training providers for examples of questions and see whether you really think whether it's right for you. And if you are the type where you think, oh my goodness, this is really hard, then there's 2 things. You never give up. You either get additional help to get where you need, because there isn't I can't do this. You can do it. It just might take you a little bit longer. It might mean that you have to spend more time doing it than another person, or it may need that you might need a bit more help from your tutor. I think there's no such word as can't, and I think you should try at least. But I'd say pick up the phone, make the inquiries, and go and see them. Talk to people that have already done the level 5 and level 7. Instead of just listening to a crowd of people that are just banging the feet going, well, I don't want to do the training because it's taken me 2.5 years to do the training, 5 to 7. Remember, working, children and everything else. It takes a while. It's not like you're just going off to university and all you're doing is just that, you're concentrating just on that. It does take a while. So I would say to people, I'd encourage them to make inquiries and definitely give it a go, without a doubt, because at some point I do believe that we are going to have to up the game make sure that we're all playing on the same level field, and quite like all the other people who are nurses, wonderful nurses out there. Again, there's hundreds of different type of medical health practitioners, but some of them deal with midwifery, some of them deal with the feet. You can't expect them to go on a 2-day course and go they're proficient as well, the same as everybody else. They can't be. They just can't be. So I think it's really important that we all go down the same pathway. And if a pathway opens, then it's going to be amazing. So whatever background you come from, as long as you go through the regulated steps to get where you want, I think it will be. It's a good thing. Definitely, it's a good thing.
Yeah, I do agree. And I think it all does come down to that whole medic, non-medic conversation. And I've spoke to someone about this before, actually. And I think people are forgetting, especially people who aren't in the industry or don't know much about it, that you're not just being trained how to, inject this into a face. Like there's the anatomy, there's safety, complications. Like you're learning the ins and outs of whatever your treatment speciality may be. That is medical. And like you say, there's nurses that only treat feet problems. Why would they know any more than you do, who's done level 5 and level 7 training about the face, for example?
Equally to non-medics who have been doing maybe nails for ages. They can't do a 2-day course and expect to inject the face either. It works both ways. They need to go through a pathway so that they learn more about the face, without a doubt. So I think it needs to be, to me, it's good and bad practice. It's a big thing. And you haven't trained in aesthetics until you've trained in aesthetics. End of, and it's a shame that, it has to be, because I know there is I've seen so much bullying and on Facebook and making people feel really inadequate about themselves, and both ways. And I'm thinking, what is going on? Get a grip, stop being like that. I think if you've got time to do that on Facebook, I'm sorry, you're not busy enough. So I'd say to people that, because I see these groups and that people are really upset about it, and I'll just say, just turn it off. Don't look at the groups for a while. Just think about yourself. Don't think about anyone else. Just think about yourself. And I think that's, really important, that you just get out of this mindset of, I'm not worthy, I can't do it, the medics are putting us down. It's not about that. It's about good practice. It's about being the best you can. And then, but also, Lydia, it's about recognizing where your line is. So, there are people that think, I want to inject. And then when they're actually doing it, it's like, oh my God, this is not for me. I think you need to diverse. So if you think, do you know what? I don't think I'm able to do this level 7, but I think I can achieve the level 5. And then maybe I'll start the level 7 later. And then regulations come in. And I think you need to adapt yourself so that you look at your business and go, right, what am I doing in my business? Right, I'm doing this, and this. Right, so if regulations come in and it means that I'm not able to do Botox and derma fillers, what am I going to do with my business? How am I going to turn around it? It's because I'm so passionate about it. I still want to do it. I still want to treat people. I still want to make them feel good. What can I do? Am I going to get a nice piece of machinery? Am I going to niche out to a certain market and do something else? Because injectables are not all what aesthetics is about. Aesthetics is not just about Botox fillers. It's about the whole thing. It can be body aesthetics, it can be facial aesthetics, it can be the use of microneedling, chemical peels, laser. There's so much that somebody could really bring into the business to make, get rid of something, bring something else in, to justify the business and keep going and be proud of what you're doing. You don't have to do these high-end treatments to justify whether you're a good or bad practitioner. just be really good at what you're doing, then learn the next skill, get the qualifications, and then do it. Or bring somebody else into your business that can do that part of it that you're not quite comfortable with and grow it. So, would be my kind of advice to people is, take a good look at yourself and see what you really want out of it long term. And I love machinery. I've got loads of machinery. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice in the sense of looking at yourself and staying in your lane. Don't worry what everyone else is doing.
Absolutely, Lydia. Yeah.
What do you want? What do you want from your business? What training does that involve? And even, I always say absolutely rave about yourself, big yourself up, but also you do need to be looking internally and thinking, actually, could I be better than this? Would extra training help me? Whether that's CPD training or the like level 5s and level 7s, like, you have to, like I say, rave about yourself, but also, be a bit kind of, I don't want to, critical is a bad word, but, wanting to improve, self-improvement and improvement for the business.
Yeah, it's just reflecting. And I think that's really important that aesthetics practitioners reflect, they take the step back, reflect, and see and find a way forward, and just be mindful of that, especially with the industry sort of changing, continuously changing. Don't be sometimes thrown in with all the new faddy treatments. Stay true to yourself. Don't just think, oh, I've got to do this because it's the latest thing. I think you should stay true to yourself, learn something properly. And it's like, say, for instance, Lydia, there's a lot of treatments out there that are, like trap tox for Barbie, injecting Botox Barbie, almost like guys having the injectables here of derma fillers to make sure they haven't got a dint in the forehead, so it's round like Ken. And I'm like, okay. And I can see why clinics will be rushing, oh, I want to do this treatment, I want to do this treatment. But what you can look about is there's the complication side of it as well. And there's nothing worse than a complication. You can't be just, this is probably one of the well, it is the most serious areas to inject. So you've got to be experienced and proficient in doing that, and you've got to have people around you to support you in case of a complication, and it's what sits right with you. And I've got to sleep at night. So for me, that's like, until these treatments have had a bit of longevity and they have got some structure behind them, and people have and it's safe and there's not been many complications, then I would look at it. I wouldn't just jump on and go for the latest thing. I'd wait for it to be verified and properly can't even think what I'm trying to think of now, to justify the treatment that is going to be good for your clinic. Because equally, if it isn't a great treatment, you have an adverse reaction and somebody has a complication, then it's not going to be good for your business either.
Yeah, definitely. And I was going to say on that note, because unfortunately we have to wrap up the podcast now, but I know, having spoke to you prior, that there are certain things that you do to justify treatments and make clients feel comfortable. So I would love to get you on another podcast to kind of elaborate more on that, and let our listeners know kind of what's worked for you. Wow, yeah, I see this contraption, which I would love for you to explain. So if we could get you on another podcast, that would be fantastic. So thank you very much for joining us today. And you'll be hearing from Amanda again for sure. But would you like to just let us know where we can find you on social media and in real life?
Yeah.
Would be great.
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram at Skin Deep Treatments UK, and Facebook is Skin Deep Treatments. And I'm on TikTok as well. I'm trying my best to do it all.
Love that.
Trying to absolutely. If anybody wants to reach out and have a chat about, personally about my experience, pick up the phone. I'm happy to help anyone, because, like I say, in the very near future, and we haven't even talked about what I'm going to be doing in the future. I'm hoping to help a lot of practitioners with becoming the best practitioners, looking at them individually and helping them grow. So yeah, and obviously things like these help as well. So yeah, but I'd love to come on and talk to you again, and tell you a little bit more about the future, because I'm going to be, in fact, in half an hour, I'm going to look at a new premises for a new clinic, because
Amazing.
I've been looking for about 2 years, so I'm going to look at a new premises because I'd like to open a clinic, find passionate aesthetic practitioners who want to join my team, and work in a really positive environment and really grow. Yeah, so I'm going as well, but I'd love to come back and talk to you a little bit more if you'll have me.
Absolutely. Like what you've shared today has been so informative, especially around the training and stuff. Super helpful information. So we really appreciate that. But thank you for being here, and we will absolutely speak to you
I
again.
will see you again soon. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.